gold, why you should buy it. So this is more for our members. I did a speech a few years ago about buying gold and silver as an investment. And if you had listened to me, you would have lost a lot of money. Because some of you that read the papers may see that gold dropped like 30% last year, and the stock market went up maybe 40%. But tonight I'm going to give you a few reasons why gold, in my opinion, is still a good investment. It might be a good time to get in. So there's a lot of reasons why gold goes up and down. If you look at last year, some of the main reasons why gold dropped was the stock market went up, so there was no reason to buy gold if you can make money in stocks. Another reason why gold went down is because the gold market is complex. There's people like you and me that buy coins. There's stock traders that buy futures and options. There's countries that buy gold for their banks, the federal banks. And then there's also, like I said, Wall Street traders that buy gold ETFs, which is basically gold, but it's like paper gold. You can buy it on stock. And this is where a lot of the gold money has gone into in the past few years. I believe maybe 50 or $100 billion worth of ETF funds. And the problem with the ETFs is, unlike physical gold, when you and I go buy a coin, we generally buy it and hold it. The Wall Street people that buy these ETFs, they buy it mostly as a momentum trade because they think it's going to go up, and they can buy it and sell it just like that. So what happened last year that made gold go down 30 or 40% was that you had, I believe, 700 or 800 tons of gold leaving the ETFs, the traders, which dropped the price to about 1,200, and it really didn't stop falling until the physical demand, the actual people buying the coins, and people in China buying gold, stopped the falling by buying the physical metal itself. So what happened was, China, since the growth of China, they've been becoming a wealthier society. So China ended up buying, I believe, about 1,000 tons of gold last year, maybe a 50% increase from the time before. As the Chinese get richer, the middle class, they buy more gold, and also China, the country itself, buys it for their central bank. So now that we start this year, if you look at what analysts say, 90% of analysts at the beginning of the year said gold is going to be a horrible investment this year. Stocks are going to do well. There's no reason to buy gold. You're going to lose your money. It might go to $800. When I first bought gold 10 years ago or 12 years ago, it was at $400, which is another reason to consider the sell-off in gold last year as more of a correction. So if we go back to the year 2000, gold was at 300 or 400. It went up to 1,900 for 10 straight years. Last year it went down 30 or 40%. And a lot of the experts are like, the bull market in gold is over. But the fact is, everything, stocks, bonds, housing, everything goes in cycles. If we look at the stock market, one of the reasons why people are saying you don't need to buy gold anymore, because look at all the money you made in your mutual fund last year. I'm sure some of you here, wow, it went up 30, 40%. But the fact is, the stock market is in the 5th year of its bull market. Basically, a bull market in stocks can average anywhere from 3 to 8 years, but 5 years is a long time for a bull market. So although the analysts are saying the good times are here to stay, the facts, if you look at just the technical factors, there's reasons to think otherwise. Now, if we take a look at the federal government, some of you might be too young to know, but the US dollar was backed by gold in the 70s, and it went up to gold standard. So now we have all these countries with fiat currencies printing their own money. And that may be fine, but if you look at our US federal government, I believe the amount of money the country owes is, I don't know, $15 trillion. So every year we pay interest on the debt. I believe because interest rates are so low, interest rates are at 0 or 1%, it works out to a few $100 billion that we have to pay on our debt. But just like the stock market in a 5-year cycle, the economy has been in recovery for, I think, 3, 4, 5 years since, 2008? So what if we go to another recession? I mean, it's going to happen sooner or later. But who in this room thinks that the U.S. will ever pay back the $15 trillion? I'm sure some of you do, maybe some of you don't. But the fact is, this is just one of the many reasons to consider gold. The fact that the U.S. dollar, the world's currency, although it's the world's currency now, there might be a time in 10 or 15 years where, because of our huge amount of debt, people might say, you know what, I don't believe in the dollar as much as I used to. Maybe I'll buy some Chinese money or invest my money in Europe, and it'll give another reason for people to panic and look to gold. So there's a lot of different reasons, and if you look just at an investment point of view, generally you don't want to be buying what everybody else is buying. We all remember the internet bubble. I remember my the takeout food Chinese restaurant 12 years ago. The girl was asking me for a good internet stock tip. Or just the other day, my doorman asked me if he should buy penny stocks in the stock market. So these are all signs that when everyone is in on any type of investment, it's probably in a bubble territory. Yet how many people here own gold as an investment? Raise your hand if you own gold as an investment. One. So just one. So gold is far from being in a bubble territory. A lot of experts said gold was in a bubble a year or two ago and is at 1900, yet we only had maybe 1 or 2 people that were investing. So these are a few things to consider why gold, in my opinion, instead of being the end of a bull run, it's kind of in a midlife correction and it still has a ways to go, maybe 5 or 10 years. But I'd like to answer some questions. If anyone has a question about investing in gold or why they may agree or disagree with my position. Anyone have interest? Yes, sir.
I'm curious as to where you draw the line between a trade and an investment on a time frame perspective.
That's a good question. You know, I think in general the time has shortened where back in the old days people kept investments, or if you look at Warren Buffett, his idea of investing is he never sells. But part of investing is what you have to pay to get in and out of the investment. When you buy real estate, you're paying a 5% commission. You want to hold that for a longer period of time because just the transaction fee to get in and out of it. So part of it depends on your costs. When you buy a gold coin, there might be a 4 or 5% commission fee. You don't want to be buying and selling that because those costs are going to eat up any of your profits. And it also depends on your age, but I'm talking about at least, if you look at gold, how it went up for 10 years, dropped 40%. I would think at least 3 to 5 years, depending on gold, or if you have a gold stock that might be different. And you always have to consider that commodities in general are volatile. So the volatility of the investment is going to play a part in how long you keep something. Because you're never going to outsmart the big money. Those guys you're never going to, by day trade, you'll always lose. So I would say at least a few years. Any other questions?
I'm just curious in regards to, you're supposed to diversify when it comes to your portfolio. So what percentage of your portfolio should be gold? And then if you do put gold as part of your portfolio, how do you go about, do you do it in a mutual fund? Do you do it in stock? Do you do it in actual metal? How do you go about doing that?
Well, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. It depends on your age, and also the best way to look at investing is how much risk you want to take and if you can sleep at night. If you invest a lot in something and you're tossing and turning, worrying about your investment, it's too much. Or if you want to achieve 8% for the rest of your life and have a good retirement, or there's some people kind of like myself where we're more speculating. we make a lot of big bets and we want to hit it big. As far as what you can buy, you have a lot of different options. A lot of the experts say you should just go ahead and buy coins because the metal itself, it's always going to be there. Where some people are leery of these ETFs, they might be like, well, the banks or the companies that run these ETFs, what if they go bankrupt? Where's my gold? It's not going to be there. So they recommend buying the metal. And then gold stocks, you can look at gold stock as investing in gold, but it's like, it kind of amplifies the returns, but it works both ways. Like when gold dropped in the past year, my gold stocks went down even more because the investment is amplified. But there's ways to play it even more. If you really want to go for broke, you can buy something called the Nugget. It's NUGT, which gives you actually 3 times the performance of the average gold stock. It's extremely volatile, but if gold goes up, you can make a lot of money. But in general, I would say 5 or 10% of something like this for your investments would be good for gold, especially if you're a younger person. With that, I'll wrap it up and bring on our next speaker. Thank you.